All right, welcome everybody to our first online debate showcase. My name is Boris Pahomov, and I'm going to be your host for the night. I have been a debate coach and judge for a few years now with a focus on coaching debaters on both national and international level. With that said, let me guide you through how this event will go. First, I will tell you all about our goal for this showcase, namely sending our debaters to the International Debate Tournament, Prague Debate Spring, this July. And I will also tell you how you can help us achieve this. After that, you will hear our debaters go head-to-head debating the motion, "This House supports the rise of language-generating AI." Finally, you have the chance to share with us what you thought about the debate by filling out a short Google form or via a donation. But the final decision would be our judge panels. Let's get on with it. Our debaters have been preparing for the past few weeks to show you their skills and experience. They are working hard in order to be able to participate in Prague Debate Spring, one of the biggest international tournaments in Europe, with countries participating from all over the world. And this year, it's going to be in person. The tournament will be held from July 10th to July 15th. Our aim is to fund this tournament participation and show the world the level of debate in Bulgaria. And here's how you can help with this. In the chat, as well as our social accounts, you can find the GoFundMe link. Any donation is fully welcome and we really appreciate it. Sharing this link amongst your socials is another great way to help us. And here is a donation breakdown. If you donate just €10, this would cover one of our debaters with public transport in the city of Prague. If you donate €20 or 40 lev, this covers the registration fee for one debater. Donating 100 covers the plane tickets. Donating €200 covers the accommodation for one person. And if you decide to donate €500 or 1,000 PGN, this would cover the full expense for one person, including transport, food, accommodation, entry fee, as well as travel and medical insurance. Now that all of this is settled, it's time to introduce you to the debaters and the judges. Starting with team proposition, we have Yanita Bogusheva. She has qualified for finals 4 times in her debate career, including Best and BDA tournaments. She is also a Best Speaker Award recipient and has participated in the Zimbabwe International Tournament. Next, we have Maria Tudorova, a debater with 4 debate finals and 3 Best Speaker awards. She has made it to oratory finals 7 times and has also participated in the Mars or Bust International Debate Tournament this September. She is also a very dedicated debater who, despite being sick today, is here to debate and show you her abilities. But keep in mind, she has currently her camera off. Next, as the third speaker of the opposition, we have Nela Fletcher, who recently won Best Foundation's first online debate-only tournament, the Lynch Cup. She also has a third place in oratory finals and has also participated in the Mars or Bust International Tournament. Now, moving on to team opposition. I present to you Maria Grigieva. Maria has been to 5 debate finals, is the recipient of 3 Best Speaker awards, has a first place in an oratory finals, and has participated in 2 international tournaments, in Lutemer and the War of Words. Maria is also the recipient of the Yale Book Award. The second speaker for team opposition, Virginia Petkova, has made it to 3 debate finals in their career, has a top speaker award, has made it to oratory finals 7 times, and has participated in the Mars or Bust International Tournament. Last, but definitely not least, we have Ioana Dimitrova, a debater who also has 3 debate finals and 2 Best Speaker awards, as well as participation in the War of Words, Zimbabwe, and Mars or Bust international tournaments. With such an amazing lineup, you better prepare for the best debate you have seen so far. But before we start, let's quickly introduce you to our judge panel. We have Ariana Weaver, Best Foundation's Debate Program Assistant. We have Kelsey Wallach, Best Coach Coordinator. Also joining us is Chris Totten, Best Foundation's very own recipient of the Judge of the Year Award in 2019. He has been volunteering as a judge at every best tournament, every single one, beginning in February 2017. And also we have Lazar Lazarov, another judge with years of debate experience, the most notable being his involvement at the World Schools Debate Championship in Zagreb, Croatia, where he was the chair judge at several rounds. Now, without any further ado, it's time for the thing you have all been waiting for. Let's start the debate. The motion is this House supports the rise of language-generating AI. Let's welcome the first speaker of Team Proposition, Jonita. Here.
Hello, everybody. Can you see me and hear me well? Okay, great. I'm gonna begin my speech in 3, 2, 1, go. Fear of change is natural. We agree. Rapid change can be downright terrifying. It has occurred during every single major innovation in our modern world. But what is important is that we do not let that fear stop us from progressing as a society. I'm Yanida, and I'm the first speaker of the proposition team. In my speech, we're going to hear the framework of this debate, along with our first argument, which is regarding the education system. And then Maria, my second speaker, is going to provide you our second argument about utility. So to begin with our framework. First of all, what can language AI generators be used for? Writing lines of code, firstly, writing scripts and texts, analyzing data, summarizing research, and translating and rewarding texts. And before we get to our positive material, we first have to clear some negatives in the framework. AI, dear panelists, will not be replacing humans and their jobs, and I'm going to tell you why. AI does not possess creative or problem-solving skills. It can only lighten the load of manual labor in certain fields, such as computer programming, which I already mentioned, but will not replace humans. It cannot create, write, or comprehend something entirely new that is not already provided by humans in its database. And to cover more into that, we're going to talk about the strikes that have happened recently of the Writers Guild and Actors Guild. Recently, with the threat of language AI replacing certain jobs or lowering salaries, labor unions have started striking. Companies now have the incentive to satisfy their workers in order to not lose a large amount of them, which is how labor unions apply pressure to the companies, which will inevitably have enormous repercussions for the company. So, due to their collective negotiation power, labor unions have the unique ability to ensure both fair wages and employment stability for their workers, which is why we'll not see a major shift of people losing their jobs in recent time. Second, copyright and intellectual property issues. AI is taught by machine learning, which is a process of the AI being exposed to large amounts of already collected data, such as different databases, public research, and recordings. AI does not possess a bias to any individual source, and when generating, instead pulls from an unfathomably large amount of already readily available resources. The only way that AI can share any similarity to any individual piece of work is that that work is heavily referenced or similar to other related works. So what's the meaning of all of this? AI does not copy works. It takes elements and inspirations, it combines them. It's an average of a large amount of data made into something new, similar to how an artist can take inspiration from another creative. As AI is being further developed, it can be taught more and more and have a larger reach of sources, which means that this exact problem will become even further minimized with its rise and its development. And with that, I will move on to my constructive arguments. First argument is how AI is going to improve the education system. Schools, dear panelists, will not be working against AI, but will rather collaborate with it, creating a healthy institution. And I'm going to explain to you why. Educational institutions have an incentive to stay on top of the technological curve in order to be competitive to other educational institutions and stay relevant, hence gaining student body, which is their main source of income, so they can pay their teachers and their facilities. Hence, educational facilities will take advantage of the benefits AI technology carries. Now, how will AI directly improve the education system, although it sounds greatly unintuitive? there is a current issue in our education system. First of all, even before the involvement of AI, due to the vast amount of readily available information, students have stopped putting emphasis on their education and they're overall less engaged in their lessons and their studies because the information on the internet is really easy to find. Now, what does AI do here? It over exaggerates this issue to a tremendous amount. When we involve AI, it makes it extremely easy for students to not put in effort, not care, and not want to go to school. This puts incredible pressure on the educational system to improve. Why? Because educational institutions are all businesses that rely on having a large number of students they educate in order to gain profit, stay in business, and pay their employees, no matter if those funds are coming from the state or from private tuitions, such as with universities. State institutions have the added incentive and social contract to benefit their citizens and educate them to have a competitive and stable workforce in the future. So these are two reasons why the education system will improve. Now, how will this happen? The educational system is going to improve on two levels. The first level being outcompeting AI. In order to stay in business and have students, educational facilities have to outcompete AI and provide something unique in order to not be seen as socially useless and hence lose large amounts of capital. And this will happen by the education system, first of all, moving towards focusing on the understanding of content that is taught rather than a focus on pure memorization and repetition, which is something that we see now and has proven inefficient as knowledge isn't retained long term. And this will lead to, first of all, better knowledge retainment for the students. Yes.
Is that though exclusively related to language generating AI?
It is absolutely exclusively related to language generating AI, as I've already established, because language generating AI is the easiest source of information right now. And it's way easier than the internet, which is what puts the unique pressure in our case. So second of all, it's going to lead to better engagement with the educational material, as you actually have to comprehend and critically consider the material. Three, people will be more interested and find more passion in their studies because they're going to have to dive deeper into them. And the second focus is going to be on developing creativity. What AI cannot provide is creativity and innovation. So this is what educational facilities will focus on, as it makes them a unique benefit. This will force teachers to both be more creative themselves and push their students to creativity. This will also be better for the students, who will gain very valuable knowledge and skills and will promote the most important element of humanity and human labor, which is innovation and creativity. This is the most unique part of ourselves. This will further then help them immensely in the job market. Criteria for exams will also rise above the basic parroting and expand into demonstrating important intellectual skills such as critical thinking in order to minimize cheating that's threatened with AI. This will put emphasis on skills that will be way more beneficial to the students in their later life. And the second level on which this improves is the better sources and information. In the worst case, AI is symmetrical to your basic search engine. If Wikipedia is gonna be, if a Wikipedia article is wrong, the AI answer is also gonna share the same falsehoods. The bottom line of this is there is no unique harm that comes from this technology, but in our best case, we get resources more accurate than search engines because of the pattern recognition and the sourcing of information, which comes from more sources than a human ever possibly could achieve. This directly correlates with better fact-checking of information, as the AI has the unique ability to cross-reference. Bottom line, AI will provide fuller and more factually credible information to students, providing students with accessible, better information to help them in their studies. What have I proven to you in my speech? First of all, why two of the main problems that could be faced are not legitimate, and second of all, how we will immensely help our student body and our society later on and improve our education system. Do not fear technology and innovation, rather embrace it, because this is our way to improvement. Thank you very much, vote Team Proposition.
Thank you as well for the wonderful speech. In the meantime, judges get ready and debaters as well. I'm going to remind everyone that the GoFundMe link is in the chat if you decide to support as you already saw one really, really good speech. You're about to see 5, 6, even 7 more when we're including the 2 replies. So keep that in mind. Wow, seems like we have our first donation. Thank you to Koyan for donating to us 23 euro. And with that said, well, all of you decide whether to donate to us too. Let's move on with the debate to the first speaker of the opposition, Maria Georgieva.
Hello, everyone. I just want to ask you if I'm visible and audible before starting my speech. Thumbs up. Okay, great. Okay, just a quick rearrangement of my notes and my desk. Okay. Okay. So I would begin my speech in 3, 2, 1. Good evening, dear audience. I am the first speaker of the opposition side. My name is Maria. First of all, I'm going to begin my speech by rebutting the first speech of the proposition side. Then I'm going to give you the frame of this debate, and then our first argument. Our second speaker is going to give our second argument. Now, onto the speech. First, to address the framework that was given from the proposition side. While we do agree with the first 2 points of the frame, we do not agree with the copyright claim that the proposition has made. And this is because they have stated that AI is not possible. That is not possible for AI, and especially language generating AI, to commit copyright infringement. But we actually have evidence that the opposite is possible, and that there are real world scenarios and court cases that are happening at present, such as the New York Times case, which claims that language generating AI is stealing exact as excerpts as from their website and from their articles, which are all subjected to copyright claims. And to the rebuttal of their first argument, while we want to emphasize on the point that the proposition has made, which is actually that AI is symmetrical to a search engine, because if the information that is fed from the website is factually incorrect, then the AI would produce it the same. And we want to emphasize on this because in my speech, we will show you that because of the inherent way that AI operates, it is possible for that information, the source information, to become unreliable. Now, onto the framework. First of all, we want to address how does actually language generating AI works. Well, it combines large sets of data with intelligent iterative processing algorithms to learn from patterns and features in the data that they analyze. Second, how does AI gather information? Well, first, web scraping and crawling. And second of all, accessing public data sets. First one, AI is set to focus on specific topic or type of information. Then, by using a crawl, it scours the internet to find the needed information. And but there is an ongoing trend of developing better tools than just crawlers for gathering high quality information from reliable resources. And as a result, the competition between AI developers has been shifting from developing the best AI technology to getting to the best, most reliable content for their data training set. This drives the price of AI technology currently on the market and has thus become the main aim of AI developers. Second, accessing public data sets. This is pretty self-explanatory. However, when it comes to news and academic journals and other education purpose written content of all kind, AI primarily uses texts that are subjective to copyright claims. And furthermore, as AI advances and produces more text itself that are later used by people and scattered online, eventually AI starts to learn from itself. What happens as a result within the media and science industries? Well, many newsletter agencies, authors, and so on are suing AI companies for copyright infringement because one, AI produces derivative to the original source content, even using exact experts from original works. And second, AI uses information, but then rightfully avoids citing sources. To mind you, AI companies are not asking for permission. They are instead freely using these works subjected to copyright to train their AI chatbots. Moreover, companies are not paying authors anything as compensation. Despite having tried to negotiate copyright monetary compensation, many newsletter and education-based agencies have been turned away by AI companies because, as they claim, they should be free to avoid copyright restrictions. Otherwise, the development of AI will be slowed down. So what do we understand from this framework? One, at present, AI companies have no incentive to pay authors for unrightfully using their works because AI developers would thus lose money. And second, it becomes a problem when in the future AI starts learning from itself. Now let's dive into the first argument. AI harms news agencies, scientific journals, and academic institutions. AI competes with such outlets as a source of reliable information because it gets the content from reliable sources. AI chatbots could easily write summaries for daily news and articles, feeding from qualitative content from these reliable sources. Suddenly, users do not have the incentive to read the relatively longer, detailed articles from journals and newspapers. To mind you, the journals and newspapers are currently operating as almost entirely online platforms. As such, they need traffic on their websites to attract advertising agencies and create their profits. Thus, when AI chatbots get content from these agencies, they create unfair competition. But why is it likely that chatbots would steal audiences? First of all, it is free to use chatbots in comparison to some articles that you need to subscription for. Therefore, it is more likely to use chatbots. And second, they write shorter messages. And save people time. Thus, if Prof explained that AI would become ever more skillful. Thus, if we know that language-generating AI presents us with correct summaries from reliable websites, what need do we have to go onto the platform of these websites and read the whole articles? None. This brings us to the question, what would this mean for our ongoing fight against fake news and information? Well, by stealing their content, AI chatbots are actively harming the revenues of companies which are providing us with factually correct, reliable information. The people that work at those agencies are real people using that revenue to produce and fund high quality content, insight research, and actually produce factually correct, high quality information. Well, if we scrape that and actually start using more actively AI, then that would result in heighten the overall probability of misinformation, which only such media and scientific outlets combat at present. This all in the end leads to less credible information online, which is in itself something counterproductive. So thank you very much for listening to the speech.
Thank you, Maria, for that wonderful speech. It was amazing to listen to. We also want to give our special thanks to Gabriel for
excuse me. There has been a problem with my timer, as I see that not only 7 minutes have passed, there is still more time. Is it okay if I continue my speech? Because I had a technical issue and I want to speak up to the time limit.
Sure, you're allowed to continue up to the time limit.
Okay, I'm very sorry for this technical issue. So I think I could begin from the 7th minute, if that's okay by the judges. Okay, so thank you. So as I was saying, which brings us to the question, what would this mean for our ongoing fight against fake news and misinformation? Well, by stealing their content, AI chatbots are actively harming the revenues of companies which are providing us with factually correct, reliable information. When AI is not crediting news and scientific agencies, it does not incentivize people to check them and support them. Furthermore, AI companies don't provide any financial compensation, as we have stated, and thus these agencies inherently lose revenue. I have already explained what they usually need this revenue for, to produce ever more better high-quality information. A good example for doing this is actually BBC Reality Check News Service, which is a department for fact-checking information. It is important to remember that language-generating AI cannot supply us with quality information on its own. We need the source for that. So, to sustain the flow of reliable information, we shouldn't allow AI to harm the revenues of news and educational agencies. AI cannot understand what factually correct information is. Only a person possesses the knowledge of what honesty is. So AI can only drive its content from comparing data sets from such high quality sources. So what is the impact? As I have already explained, this heightens the overall probability of misinformation, because to produce content, and high quality content, would inevitably become more and more hard for news agencies and from science agencies. This heightens the overall probability of misinformation, which only such media and scientific outlets could combat today. So, as we have presented you on our side of the house, the arguments that the proposition side is going to give are inherently counterproductive, as AI depends on good, high quality content, and at the same time simultaneously harms the agencies that could produce it. So thank you very much, both team opposition.
All right, thank you for that speech. We want to give our special thanks to Gabriel for donating 25 euros to support our international team. We are already 10% our way to the goal of being able to send our perfect debaters to Prague this summer. And I'm going to be giving you some more seconds for the judges and debaters to get ready for the next speaker. All right, it's time to move on to the second speaker of the proposition, Maria Tudorova.
Can you hear me well?
Yes, perfectly.
Okay, I will start my speech in 3, 2, 1, go. Quality over quantity, they say. Yes, but can we not have both? That is what language-generating AI ensures. Hello, I'm Maria, and I'm the second speaker on the side of the proposition. Firstly, I will do a quick rebuttal of the first speech of the opposition side. Then I will move on with our second argument, which is about efficiency and utility. Firstly, the opposition speaker began with explanations about the evidence of copyright and how horrible that is to society. However, is it actually stealing when the aim of that is to learn and feed the algorithm? An algorithm that is later going to impact us extremely positively and in many other ways. They never explained how this copywriting is so horrible to our society. They only stated that it exists, something that was rebutted even at the beginning of the first speech of the proposition in our framework. They moved on with the prices of the AI technology and how no, thank you. And how that horribly impacts our society. However, they never explained how it is bad for companies to pay for AI. We're not forcing anybody to invest in such technology. In fact, we explained how only the major corporations will do that. Later on, they talked about the lawsuit. However, the issue is currently being resolved through these lawsuits exactly. Every innovation takes time to be perfected. And that is no reason to neglect every possible positive impact that comes. Yes.
You said that the purpose of the copyright is an education one, but we actively have pointed out in our speech that the purpose is for companies to have to produce bigger monetary, bigger financial revenues and so on. So that is actively not true.
Okay, thank you. Yes, the companies developing AI will indeed have bigger revenues for that. However, it is the institution's choice whether to buy that or not. And we have proven in our first argument how the reasoning for buying this AI technology and for implementing it outweigh the negatives. And that's something that will be further explained in the second argument. Then they moved on to explain how we're stealing other authors' works. However, the AI is not able to create its personal academic articles. It cannot cover an event if such event does not exist. This means that it will not be creating new information, but rather only giving us an easier way towards the information that already exists. Works that are already in the web are works that everybody can read as it is, and are works that should not be prevented from being used in the AI technology as a whole. Then they made an extremely long point about fake news and how horrible that is. However, our first speaker explained the symmetry and how more fake news will not be able to be developed due to the fact that the information used is one specifically existing in the World Wide Web as it is. Hence, this point is exactly symmetrical on both sides and is not going to be increased on our side of the fence. Furthermore, with our greater pattern recognition that comes, no thank you, from language generating AI, we're even going to be able to detect the sources of fake news and focus on the more reliable sources. Now moving on to the second argument, which is about efficiency and utility. Language generating AI leads to overall professional as well as personal improvement. The first subpoint of this argument is the work quality and quantity improvement. In our capitalistic society, every business's main goal is making a profit, hence minimizing the cost and maximizing the gains. This is why companies concentrate on productivity increase and customer satisfaction above all else, including the workers' needs. Quantity. The largest benefit is the amount of work language generating AI can perform, since it functions approximately 10 million times quicker than an average worker. Moreover, it is uniquely beneficial due to its permanent availability. Unlike people, it can work 24/7, and this increases the production of major corporations drastically in terms of quantity. Now, moving on to quality. Unlike the human brain, language generating AI is far less prone to subjectiveness and can research the information much more thoroughly. AI can solve many problems that humans can't, such as traffic congestions, parking shortages, and long commutes, improving the quality, safety, efficiency, and sustainability of transportation systems. Moreover, where innovations occur, it takes a significant amount of time for them to become widely implemented. However, through AI, the need for intermediaries to transfer such information is minimized, ensuring a faster path towards updates. All humans are prone to making mistakes. However, there are times when such mistakes can be lethal. In the healthcare industry, generating AI is used to analyze medical images and assist in making diagnoses. According to a report by the World Health Organization, administrative errors lead to 20% of hospital deaths, a number that will rapidly decrease upon implementing a technology that, unlike mankind, is capable of constantly working to its fullest. To top that off, 2/3 of consumers believe that companies need to be better at listening to feedback, and more than 60% say businesses need to care more about them, a problem that the human-like response mechanisms and data analysis of AI can efficiently solve. As an impact, this is not only beneficial for said companies, but will also improve the overall work quality in many industries, essential for our well-being, and lead us towards a safer and more comfortable life. Simultaneously, through the productivity increase, language generating AI will also lower annual inflation. The cost-effective approach that companies will take outweighs the increase in prices and services, which usually contribute to 2/3 of inflation rates. This will ensure a more stable worldwide economy and a stable financial future for us all. Moving on to our second subpoint, which is about the personal benefits and improvement of the standard of living. As per our framework, the language generating AI is incapable of replacing the human workforce due to the lack of problem-solving skills and creativity, something the opposition never disagreed with. A small percentage of workers will indeed be replaced, particularly ones doing manual routine labor, which are the lower ranks of the industrial hierarchies. Initially, no person is fond of performing repetitive, non-thought-provoking tasks, since those neither excite nor fulfill us. Most workers interested in a certain industry want to perform more important tasks, however, they are stuck with those thoughtless ones, unable to climb the career ladder and getting demotivated. When these specific assignments are performed by AI, this part of the workforce will need to be redistributed. The workers will need to motivate themselves once again into getting accustomed to harder tasks, more research and development centered, a part of the industry that will be focused more upon implementing language generating AI due to the need to still employ personnel. Ones that will not only make the workers more engaged, but will lead to more industrial progress due to the more focus on updates. When the companies are less incentivized to abuse human labor, since the hardest work in terms of amount will be done by language generating AI, the workers will be less stressed and pressured, an ever increasing problem in our society currently. They will not need to work up until the late hours of the night and live in a work centered environment, allowing them to slow down and once again focus on their personal lives and well being. However, due to the high risks the company will be making, the high profits, and the social pressure of work syndicates, the workers will still have a stable income, ensuring a similar quality of life. And due to the wider usage of language generating AI, the whole concept of the technological sector will also improve due to the unique financial incentives of companies. At the end of the day, this will create a chain reaction of thorough industrial improvement, influencing societal well-being positively, and at the end of the day, bettering the world. Thank you.
Thank you so Maria for that great second speech. The debate is getting really, really heated now that we are in the middle of it. I would like to remind speakers to keep in mind of protected time when it comes to asking POIs. And next, I would also like to thank Fania for donating 25 euro and Mikhail for donating 5 euro to supporting our international team. We highly appreciate you all. All right, now it's time for the second speaker of the opposition, Virginia here.
Am I visible and audible? Are there any problems with the connection?
Everything is fine.
Okay. Just let me quickly fix my notes, get my timer, and I shall start my speech in 3, 2, 1. This guy is so good. It helps so much until it doesn't. Hello, my name is Virginia, and I'm the second speaker of the opposition team. And in my speech today, I will provide a quick rebuttal of what has been said by the proposition team so far. Then I will quickly expand a little bit on our first argument and present our second and final argument. First, I would like to reiterate that the proposition so far has also talked about imposing future AI regulations and how to cooperate between human work and AI currently. However, team believes that we are talking about the rise of AI up until now. And so to address that is something precisely going out of the scope of this debate. Even if it was, why haven't such regulations been imposed so far? Why are we still taking care of problems only after they happen and not thinking of an incentive that will help us regulate them now, such as claims of copyright and no compensation for authors? Now, I would like to address I will not take your POI now, thank you. I would like to address some claims that have been made concerning our first argument. We have talked about copyright. We have talked about the way that the overuse of AI up until now and the later on overuse of it, how it will impact such industries as the news outsources and writing, and how these sources will become unreliable. proposition team has talked about the benefit of reliable information, of using all of this to help us out in the grand scope of things. However, at the end of it, we have talked about and explained that this will not happen. We're explaining that the overuse of it will lead to detrimental regress to the way that news cooperate. I will not take your POI, Yanni, if you're asking one. They have explained the symmetry that AI will produce that AI would not produce fake information. However, we're fully against that, as AI functions by making logical predictions on the data that it has created, rather than actually coming up with something new, as the proposition has agreed that AI cannot create something. The aim to learn that has been explained by the proposition, it is not learning. It's actively using something to produce content. It uses the information on a factual and logical basis and making predictions of it, not actively making conclusions of it, or in order to benefit a major cause. That is not learning, that is summarizing. All the major corporations would do that, and they would be actually beneficial in paying people for copyrights, for their copyright laws. However, I will not take your POI now, thank you. People are actively refusing to do that. Writers are already being actively overlooked, as mentioned by the writers' strike, and copyright infringements are laws that cannot be overlooked, and AI is able to produce made-up content on its own, because it does not make conclusions or create some sort of new thought. It uses it in order to summarize something by a great data of sources, not one, not two, but even more. The proposition has assessed that the work quality and quantity will improve. Work quantity will be improved in the grand scheme of things. However, the quality of it, and using all of this in order to create something new, I will take your POI after the 6 minute. Actively using and pushing towards lower quality content happens because, as we have already described, AI enhances itself, and this is overall counterproductive, because a source of information that AI needs to operate well is something that already exists and it's reliable. For example, news sources, academic journals, etc. And is promising us that it will operate well and draw conclusions from it. However, the methods in which AI is working present itself is counterproductive, as it harms reliable sources and it actively pushes the content to become low quality, because it does not have the ability to properly analyze it. It has the ability to summarize it. This, in return, heightens the possibility of spread of fake news and fake information. Now, let me explain to you one major point, that AI is working against itself, which would be explained by a second argument, a model collapse. AI text content gets generated in use in summaries, translations, scripts, etc. In this case, most often used by being posted online along with other human-generated content. This means that at some point it becomes training content for future and current AI content, creating an endless feedback loop. It is way more productive than humans, of course. It creates bigger amounts of content much faster. However, this is the start of its demise. It creates a bigger amount of content, and the more content gets posted because people rely on it, the less the human content gets. A certain percent still exists in itself. However, the overall lack of this affects the content accuracy in future aspects. Already existing errors, such as contextual errors, biases made by the contextual clues of what AI provides to us, build up. A quantity issue. Machine makes up flawed content that can only pass it on a flawed manner. Human content will still exist due to the dependence of AI-generated text. Less people will be willing to fully engage with it, which leads to the cycle of generating more. This is called model collapse, and this is how AI systems malfunction without enough human-generated content, as they're fully dependent on it. This impacts the average person who uses AI, academic writers, educators, students, because the more AI-generated content content gets generated and used on the internet, and the more students use it. The example made by the proposition in the first speech, when they said that students will use AI in learning but not depend on it. However, if content is flawed by its contextual errors, and the more errors that build up in a flawed manner, how does it affect? I will not take your POI, I'm sorry. How would that affect in a global scheme? It will make academic writings, which are the most important writings that people need to read and learn on an everyday basis. It will impact them and make them less accurate. People will be able to produce less accurate information by themselves because they're so dependent on something that is easy and something that quote unquote should help them. However, in its reality, the more you rely on it and the more you use it and the more you post it, creates a flawed system based on which people cannot fully generate content by themselves because there's no more new content to produce. It's only summarized, created in order to help out people. This is going to make a fall on our academic writings, on our educators and our students, and the general person who decides to use AI for the simplest things ever. Because the less human the content gets, the more it impacts the way that we think, the way that we initiate some sort of things, and how the AI is going to eventually lead to its own demise. And with this, I would like to conclude my speech. Thank you.
All right, thank you for that wonderful speech. Yeah, I will giving a single minute for our debaters and judges. As you seen already have in the chat, once again, the link to the GoFundMe. And I would like to give special thanks to Jasmina for her donation and supporting us for hopefully going to Prague this summer. All right, let's move on to the third speaker of the proposition, Newa. Here.
Hello, am I visible and audible?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, I will start in 3, 2, 1. Artificial intelligence is a technology that can help us so much. It can improve our future and create a better society. The opposition side do not see the positives of this helpful tool, but rather insist that it is going to greatly harm us. During this debate, we have managed to prove to you how the side proposition of this motion is the correct side to take. In my speech, I'll present the clashes in this debate, and by the end of this, I will have convinced you that you should vote side proposition. So first, the main thing that was discussed is artificial intelligence as a search engine, as the opposition side focused mainly on how the information will be unreliable and will be incredibly biased to information that is given to it. And it would make harder for news agents and science pages to break through this. You talked about how copyright will have a very bad impact, but in reality, the impact will be so minor, it will focus only on some personal issues, but that can be resolved. No, thank you. But on a global scale, artificial intelligence will not harm a copyright in such an extent. We talked about how artificial intelligence is reliable due to how it will combine all the resources that it has been given, which you as the opposition side agreed with, and it will increase the chances of it to be reliable, especially when somebody, for example, is researching to make sure that that site is reliable. No matter what the site is, they should and are encouraged to reference with other sites. But this is what artificial intelligence does in a graver scale. It does it in bigger quantities and can do it much faster than a human possibly could, which can help us which can help us on time and can help us on with the jobs, as we discussed, in education and other different aspects.
POI?
In a second. You talked about how artificial intelligence is not factually correct, and the information will lead to less credible information as it constantly cross-references itself. But in reality, people who do want to find out the actual facts can do that when they go to the original site. If, let's say, they are searching something about the European Union, if they want to be 100% sure, they can go and find it on the site. But for time and quantity of this, you can go and do it on artificial intelligence. And most of the time, it will be correct due to it referencing exactly those sites, let's say the European Union site. So you also talked about the mistakes, including, I think, biases and academic writings and how it could be incorrect. But obviously, we're not completely relying on this in artificial intelligence to do everything for us. We will still be working with it, checking it, referencing it, and making sure that it is not incorrect completely. And we will always go through what it has given us if we are writing something with it. Yes, I'll take your POI.
You have stated that people would still go to the actual websites, but what incentive would they have to do that? As we have explained in our speech, there wouldn't be such an incentive, while they will be supplied by low quality information from the source, as the AI system is itself counterproductive.
Well, let's say you talked about how scientists and the bigger global organizations will send out information and how they will be pressured and put down by this artificial intelligence, but they won't, because artificial intelligence will be getting their information exactly from there. So the chances that it is incorrect are very minor. But to make sure, if somebody is very suspicious of it, somebody who's very curious, they can still check. That is what we're trying to say. We're trying to say that you are not excluded of this option to find out this information if you want to, if you are willing to. You talked about how, we talked about how this can help with the education system and how it will improve teaching, it will improve the aim for the education system itself to improve when competing with artificial intelligence. But the opposition side didn't manage to engage with that in any way and didn't manage to conflict it. So we will take that as an agreement that artificial intelligence will be able to help the education system in a very positive way by competing with it. So there will be teachers trying to compete with it, encouraging creativity and logical thinking, and how it can also help students when trying to when the actual education system will work together with it when setting this information. No, thank you. We also talked about how quantity and quality of this how the quality and quantity of artificial intelligence cannot compete with the ones that humans can give us. And by that, I would like to say that issue of the workforce is it is inevitable. There will always be problems with not managing to hire enough people and needing more workforce, but that is a problem that has nothing to do with artificial intelligence. It's a problem that there is with the actual system. And until the system changes, artificial intelligence has nothing to do with unemployment. All it can do is help the actual current workers to make their jobs easier, to free more time for them, and to manage to get the workers that are there to incorporate artificial intelligence in their lives so they can use it as a tool, and that will lead to less time for people, more time for people to spend on their families, to improve their mental health, and so on. But okay, yeah, I'll take it for a while.
But what if the reliable source itself at risk, as it's underfunded because AI pushes it to be? From where would we have reliable information for us to enhance our education systems?
Artificial intelligence finds its information from a database that has already been given from it. It takes the information from the beginning, and the content won't stop being made unless innovations stop existing. So artificial intelligence will always carry on finding information from somewhere. It will never stop. It will always reference already existing articles that will be created, as it can't create new information itself. With that, I would like to go over why we as a proposition side win and why you should vote for the proposition side. Well, we have managed to prove to you that there are many benefits to the artificial intelligence rising, and how if in the worst case scenario, artificial intelligence, as the opposition side states, will never be less than how it is at the moment. So there will always be a better side to it, and it will always be slightly better than how the world is in the opposition side. With that, I would like to conclude my speech. Thank you.
Thank you as well for that wonderful third speech. As usual, we're going to be giving 1 minute before the next debater comes. All right, for the final constructive speech, let's welcome the third speaker of the opposition, Joanna. Here.
Hello, can you hear and see me well?
Yes, perfectly so.
Okay, just give me a second to set some things up, because I have a lot of notes. I would like to start my speech in 3, 2, 1, go. Good props aim towards practicality, convenience, and efficiency, saving up precious time and resources inherently lead to the potential demise of language-generating AI as we know it, and the downfall of AI-written articles. Would AI essentially become the snake that bites its own tail? That was just a metaphor, of course. But dear panel, please do not be deceived by the unrealistic and slightly roasted worldview the proposition has provided us with. As the third speaker of the opposition team, I, Joanna, will now present to you why I think we should win. Let me start off with some rebuttal, then move on to my 2 clash points. The first one being the quality and reliability of content, and the second one, the ripple effect throughout society and the education system. Okay, I would like to move on to my rebuttal. Now, the proposition team stated over and over again how we never once stated how it's bad for society, how it's going to have a ripple effect throughout society. I would obviously talk about this in my second clash point, but I would also like to point out how we spent in the first speech literally 7 minutes talking about copyright infringement, and yet it was never looked. No, not take it. It was never taken into consideration. People can still check the website and access the information. Is a POI that we asked. No, excuse me. What the proposition team stated is that people can still check the website and access the information. Well, first of all, no, sometimes they cannot because paid subscriptions, am I right? But let's say they can. What incentive would they even have to do so? You're presenting us a world where AI saves up time and helps the educational system in a positive way, encouraging creativity and critical thinking, but you never once answered our points about how AI impacts critical for our development, scientific and journalistic studies and articles that will eventually be lost due to the loss of revenue. Because something that the third speaker of the proposition team stated is that, something that the proposition team stated is that if innovation exists, then there is no need to worry about articles that will not pop up in the future. But innovation will always exist, and AI will reference already existing articles. Sure, innovation will exist, but it won't put food on the table when your news company is tanking due to AI becoming your rival in the same field, using your articles, because right now there's absolutely no regulation put on the copyright infringement violations that are not taken seriously by the proposition side. On our side of the house, the average person who uses AI, academic writers, educators, and students are also impacted. AI companies do indeed want to improve AI, so they have no natural incentive to give out money and support news outlets and relevant businesses when they could easily train their bots using stolen articles without paying for the copyright infringement, as the status quo currently shows. And who's to say that any specific regulations they do put on AI are going to be effective enough? Their aim is to improve AI, and guardrails like paying for the copyright or narrowing down the pool of knowledge AI is being trained on slows down the process significantly, costing them money. And again, as the current situation has not improved, has not improved despite these concerns existing for some time, we have reason enough to believe that they will not, in fact, improve in any time sometime soon. We have proof enough to believe that companies are not thinking of the person in general, of the authors, the educators, and the students. They think of the profit and the revenue they're going to make out of all of this. Because the fact that AI is improving so far, due to the way it's improving as of now, that's exactly the problem. The content it is developing from is news outlets that are going to be even further stripped from their revenue with how effective AI resourcing will get, which will therefore lead to more people being inclined to get the summarized information from them, which is, as we already agreed on both sides of the house, far easier, but also will lead to consequences. Moving on to the clash points, ladies and gents. The first one being, again, the quality and reliability of content. We pointed out in our second speech, how the start of AI's demise will be the model collapse. How right now we cannot ignore the rising number of articles written by AI on the internet. And in the future, if we do continue supporting the rise of AI that is currently in progress, then we're going to be seeing even more and more of these articles every single time we access the internet. So what does that lead to? It leads to model collapse that we talked about in our second argument, which is essentially AI that is trying to learn from another AI, which could lead to unreliable resources, as we stated, because the proposition team says time and time again that there is no need to fear innovation. There is no need to fear the reliable resources that language generating AI provides us with, but they never once explained exactly how is it reliable when we have given them so many points. No, thank you. When we have given them so many points to explain that indeed, due to model collapse and due to the impending doom on really relevant businesses, the reliability of these sources is not going to stay credible in the future. Just a second. The way AI operates actively pushes towards lower quality content, reducing the revenue of reliable sources of agencies. We have explained this in argument number 1 very efficiently. And human content will still exist, but due to the dependence on AI-generated text, less people will be willing to engage with it, as we explained, which leads to a cycle of generating even more AI articles, which leads to even further model collapse. It's kind of like a circle of doom, isn't it? This means AI's learning content will eventually become more and more infested with other AI-generated content in comparison to human-generated content. And why is this bad? Because AI is dependent on human-made content, as we already agreed, and as the proposition team agreed as well in their speeches, saying that AI cannot create new content for itself. Yes, it absolutely cannot. That's why we need to rely on human-made content, but in the future, we're not going to get any of it because of the fact that AI is replacing all of these articles. We're not saying that it's replacing workers. It's a very different situation over here. We're saying that these companies do have the incentive to indeed push their workers to work towards even more AI articles, to put them out, but they do not have the incentive to support news outlets and relevant businesses that are actually essentially going to turn into their rivals. Because revenue, money is everything in this world. Now let me move to the second clash point, which is the ripple effect throughout society and the education system.
Last chance.
Okay. No, thank you. I have a lot. I'm sorry. Okay, so okay. The speaker of the proposition team stated that there is no impact of copyright infringement violation, just some personal issues that the author can deal with themselves. Well, no. As I stated, there are many effects that we're going to have on society and reliability of content, but let me repeat in a paraphrased way, kind of giving some more information. Producing high quality content would become much more expensive. Thus, it would mean that it would cost way more to sustain as something rather impossible as AI becomes its rival. So the content would eventually lessen its quality pressed by these circumstances. And this heightens the overall probability of misinformation that we talked about, which only such media and scientific outlets combat at present. This all in the end leads to less credible information online, which is in itself something counterproductive, which leads to also a counterproductive education system, because the proposition team really put this sort of expectation on us that the education system is going to improve in so many ways due to the fact that our teachers are going to have incentive to work towards a more engaging classroom, but they didn't really think of the scientific articles that we're going to be impacting with the fact that AI is indeed changing. It is improving, it is rising, and we regret it as the opposition. I would like to conclude my speech with some final sentences. We, as the opposition team, do not support the rise of language generating AI exactly because we know we cannot stop nor regulate the process that has started a long time ago. We know we cannot, as of now, put a stop to the development of the industry, but we do not support it either, given how it has so far impacted millions of people in the workforce, as well as steal their work, bypassing the laws and repercussions, which is not just some little personal issue. It's kind of illegal. Because it has reached a point where it develops on its own, that could inherently lead to its own demise, causing a model collapse that would greatly impact almost all resources online. And it's not a matter of will it, it's just a matter of when. Thank you, support team opposition.
Thank you for that speech. Cheers, literal cheers, guys. I don't know about you, audience. Yeah, that concludes the constructive part of the debate. Next, we have 2 more reply speeches to be given. But before that, we would like to thank Julia for the generous donation of €20 towards our end goal. If anyone else would like to donate, we have the link in our chat. And next, I would like to welcome the reply speaker of Team Opposition.
Am I visible and audible? Any problems with the connection currently?
Everything is fine.
Great. I will start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Hello, I'm the reply speaker of the opposition team, and today I will be concluding this debate from my side by using the method impact calculus and using 3 factors to outweigh the two impacts that the proposition and the opposition team respectfully present. The impact calculus works by presenting 3 factors: magnitude, probability, and time frame. The magnitude is the severity of said consequence, the probability is the likelihood of that consequence occurring, and the time frame is when will that consequence occur. First, as pointed out by the 2 teams, the 2 consequences that we're mainly clashing towards is, from the proposition team, how AI will help humans and how they can cooperate together, and improvement of work ethic, personal gain, and the educational system. While on our side, we're arguing of the consequences of loss of reliable resources, low quality content, and overuse that leads to float use of such content that has been generated. And that AI, at the end of it, will become largely the same content produced over and over again. Now, moving on to the first point of magnitude. The proposition team presents that the severity of the consequence is that it would be a large help to the education system, and it may help work ethic. However, on our side, we're presenting something that will not only impact educators, students, but will also impact the average person and the whole industry, the way that it presents AI and the way that it works with it. The proposition team, on the other hand, presents us of a consequence that helps in a positive manner. However, that our team believes that we have won this, this part of the impact calculus. Probability and likelihood, we're talking about the possibility on the proposition side that is only possible if a large quantity of people and only a few certain things and industries and people turn to it. However, our is way more probable because AI is already everywhere. AI is already being used in some sort of way in many industries, and this makes it even worse because errors are already being pointed out, not properly fixed, as we have already explained. The proposition side is saying that people will adapt. However, what if it's already too late to adapt in the ways that they want us to do? On a last part of the impact calculus is a time frame, and how and when will that consequence occur in the end of the day? The proposition's impact and consequence shows us a long time that people will need to adapt, and in order to actually implement all of those solutions into a large scale that will benefit people. However, our consequence already started happening, and it's already a bit too late to stop it in the general scheme of things. Soon, it will be too late to actually implement proper solutions, and team opposition calls for one last cry of help in order to vote for us and to win the battle against the rise of a language generating AI. And with this, I'd like to conclude my speech. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you for that awesome reply speech. Before we move on to the final speech of this debate, we would like to thank Mikhail for the continuous support for international team by donating €5. Your help is highly appreciated. And now, I would like to welcome the reply speaker of Team Proposition, Janita, to conclude this debate.
Am I clearly audible? And is my internet lagging in any way?
No, everything's fine.
Okay, thank you. Just give me a singular second. I'm gonna start my speech in 3, 2, 1, go. Dear panel, as the opposition have stated themselves, misinformation is the most powerful and horrific tool that can be used when it comes to AI, when it comes to this debate as well. And what are the opposition doing? Blatantly spitting misinformation at you. First of all, I'm going to start with a few call-outs in this reply speech, giving an overall summary of the content that has been given. And then I'm going to weigh the debate on the most important metric in this debate, which is societal improvement. The most important thing we're debating about with a technology so innovative and as large as AI is where our society is going to be better off, we're going to live better lives, and we're going to be better educated. But first of all, what have they given to us? They have given content that blatantly smears your eyes without explaining to you, first of all, why people who are interested in such specified niches such as science and politics will choose to invest their time into looking into AI, but will not look at those specific articles. Second of all, have not explained why they stand behind the enormous magnitude they're presenting of all of the people in the world using AI as their predominant search engine, as they already have a cognitive bias to their normal search engines, which is a thing they use in their daily lives. And thirdly, they're completely ignoring the mechanism and the coding on the AI, completely stating you a useless second argument, which works on a fallacy in the code of the AI, which is not present in major search engines, in major AI engines. Now, what is the clash of this debate? As I've already established, the most important clash is the societal benefit. What we give you on our side of the house is unrebutted, still standing content from our framework, from our educational argument, and from our efficiency and utility argument. First of all, our education argument still stands, even if you buy the uncredibility argument of the opposition side, because that pressure on the education system from AI generators is still immensely applied due to the use of the students. So this argument is still as impactful and still works in a major way, making it extremely relevant in terms of changing our school system, which is the major catalyst for change in our overall society. Our second argument also stands because what they've ignored in this debate is what our second speaker has already stated, and it's the fact that companies teach AI generators themselves. They teach them on their own databases so they can be able to work well in that workplace. So the misinformation arguments on the side of the opposition still stand on our side of the house. So what are we presenting on our side, and what are they presenting on their side? On their side, they're presenting arguments that even if you do buy and do think they're properly analyzed and properly impacted, have very minor impacts for our society, meaning stealing away some kind of minor amount of money from new sources, which they've also not explained why that amount of capital will be so large. They lack the proper analysis and the proper backing to be able to prove the impacts that they have said to prove. What they have actually proven is that in a certain case there may be monetary losses, but they've never proved the magnitude of those monetary losses. And on their second point, they're proving that there may be a case in terms of whether AI publishes its own articles and has a fallacy in its coding, that it may start whirling in on themselves, but it is never properly backed up. What you have on our side is the two major catalysts for a human life, the two things we all do on a daily basis. We get educated, and then we join the workforce in order to be able to live our lives. And what we're presenting to you is a better skill set in order to live your life better, in order to get a better job, and then how your job is going to be less stressful for you, how your job is going to allow you to have more time with your family, how you're going to be more content with your general livelihood on our side of the house. And that's the thing. Our arguments are both better proven and generally immensely more impactful than the arguments provided from the side of the opposition. So I'm urging you, do not battle the things that's going to help us in the future. Embrace it instead, because everything else is fixable. Thank you so much. Vote for Team Pro.
Thank you as well, and I thank everybody for this truly awesome debate. Now how it's gonna go, I would kindly ask the judges to move to a separate breakout room where they would make their final decision. In the meantime, we would like to hear from you, the audience. Open the Google form that I will send in the chat in just a second, and tell us what you think about this debate. And also, there's one more thing. Everyone who donates in the next 10 minutes can include a message in their donation telling us which team they think deserves the win. Team Proposition, Janita, Maria Tudorova, and Newa, or Team Opposition, Ioana, Virginia, and Maria Georgieva. This message will not influence the judges' verdict, as also the Google form, but this comment specifically we will be sharing right in front of all. Yeah, we have our GoFundMe link in chat, and now I'm also sending the Google form where we could fill out, choose your best speaker, choose the team that you think won, and overall give us your thoughts. The judges will be back in 10 minutes, and in the meantime, I have an offer to all students who are currently not part of this showcase, and that is namely our tournament that's going to be happening next week, the Roll Cup. This is going to be our first online, our second online debate tournament. We have specifically one debater here, Newa Fletcher, who actually won our first online debate tournament, the Lynch Cup. So if you want to be like her and have opportunities such as her, maybe consider joining in with a team for the Roll Cup. And also there's one more thing. If you win the Roll Cup, you get to qualify for nationals if you still haven't. So keep that in mind. In order to apply, you just need to go to our Instagram page or our Facebook page and find the application form in our link tree. And also, while we are still waiting on the judges, I would like to once again thank everyone who supported us, Koyan with a donation of 23 euro, Gabriel with a donation of 25 euro. We want to thank Vanya with a donation of 25 euro, Mikhail with 2 donations of 5 euro, Jasmina with her donation. We thank also Julia for her donation of 20 euro. All of this is very, very appreciated, and we are definitely on our way of being able to fund this tournament and being able to send our debaters to Prague this July.
I would use this time to thank the proposition team for this amazing debate and for all of you guys being here. Thank you.
That was a
Thank you
really
for
fun
the debate, for real. Thank you for the
Thank
debate, for
you.
all the nights prepping and talking and everything. Love you all.
Okay, I just checked the Google form and we already have 19 responses and they're also positive. So once again, I want to thank my debaters. It seems like the audience has really enjoyed your debate. And I mean, sure they will. Like that was such a great debate and I really enjoyed listening to it. Just for the people who are still filling out the form, there might be a small mistake. If you see under choosing like your favorite speaker, you see Ioana listed as first opposition speaker and Maria as third. That's obviously switched, so keep that in mind when choosing best speaker. We already have 24 responses. I'm going to read just the thoughts, not really who won or who you think is best speakers, but I feel like there's some really interesting things to share. Wonderful and up to date topic. Love it. Both teams were very strong. Really enjoyed the debate. Agree. Great debate. Very interesting and relevant topic. Seems like the audience agrees. The debate was amazing. Great constructive speeches. Very engaging. I truly believe that it was an amazing debate and I loved it. Exclamation point smiley face. It was an amazing debate. Virginia had the best talking points. seems like the judges are here, and we're soon to have a decision. Now I'd ask the judges to text our host Kami, who will tell me the results, and I'm gonna announce them to the whole public.
So I can only direct message whoever's signed on as Vanya. Did that person get it? Okay.
All right, the results are in. The winner of this debate by a 3-1 decision is Team Opposition. Congratulations to Team Opposition, and thank you to everyone who joined the showcase and helped us with our goal. You can currently all unmute yourself and cheer the debaters and celebrate with them. And yeah. In the meantime, I would also like to, I hope you enjoyed the debate, and if you did, make sure you share this video once it's up on our YouTube account. The GoFundMe link will continue being active in case you want to continue supporting us. And once again, thank you for joining us. This is the end of our debate showcase, but just the beginning of our debates Prague Spring endeavor. Goodbye and have a great evening to everyone.